Hey guys, what's up? This is Leash, and welcome to the Refrag Academy. This is the advanced version of the T-side default for Anubis, and let's get straight into all the little extra stuff that you can be doing for your spot. So we already talked about how on T-side everyone's responsibilities, so I'm not going to really be repeating too much of that, but these are all the extra options that you can be doing in your spot. So as the B main player, pretty much going to be the wing, you have the same responsibilities as before, so you want to make sure that they're not pushing, but you can also be bringing around more players that can peek with you and be putting a lot more pressure onto the B site. So this isn't necessarily where you have to end the round, but this is pretty much how it can look. So you can get into this corner here with one of your players that are in the back, probably not the best spawn, and pretty much it's to the left of this pole and a jump throw, and that is going to be smoking off the left side here, and it's going to be blocking off oppers that are just like posted up right here. Of course, there's always like a chance that like someone boosts, but thankfully in CS2 you can see that stuff very easily. The main goal of this smoke is for when you're peeking over everything, you can get a fair duel on this guy. Nobody's going to be peeking you here if you ended up going past the angle, because sometimes when you're peeking you're immediately swinging all the way on the back, and then you can just focus on putting pressure on the guys back emo. Anyone that's playing on this right wall eventually is going to feel pressured, especially when you're looking at combinations of when you're using that smoke and then your canals player or the A player is using this smoke. So both of the B players, whether there's 2 or 3, they're going to be feeling the pressure, because now there's a smoke here and the B main players can be peeking in, and now there's a smoke at E box and canals players can start getting close and they can molly in afterwards or even before. And if you combine that with throwing any type of Molotov off the wall, then all of a sudden there's a lot of pressure on any player that's playing here. But overall, you can have a lot of different pressure where you're throwing mollies on the right side, and it's kind of the same start that you would have before. So you're mollying, throw like a flash over, and you have people that are swinging here, and because you have this smoke here, there's a lot less angles that you have to worry about, especially in CS2, because you can see very clearly over smokes if someone tries like boosting or anything. So this is kind of how much pressure you want to be putting on the B players on CT side, because there's not a lot of options for them on this map especially. And if you're limiting their options by throwing a pre-molly and pre-nade, outside of pressure as a B player, the main things that you do want to look out for, especially if you're not going to be Molotov, because you obviously can't always Molotov, is if people are going to be doing any type of flash over. So if they flash over and they go for any types of picks here, this is something you're going to have to be very wary about. So you don't want to get caught in the middle of the open here by yourself. You don't want to get caught here, because you're not going to be ready. As soon as somebody is going to get ready for a flash, they're going to be coming up on this wall and you won't be able to see them. So the spots that you want to be playing if you're by yourself is usually going to be kind of passive back here. You can even like play here at the headshot angle, and if you get blind you can just crouch and just move back. Overall, just making sure that you're not dying, and if they do flash, then you can punish them. Even for example, if you played here and like you had a flash come out and you just go for a kill after, you can just kill and tuck, and then your mid player comes back. This is something that's going to be pretty useful for you. So now moving on to the mid players. So some types of things that you can be seeing is the CT mid player is going to either be smoking or he's going to be Molotoving bridge. So he'll either smoke this or he's going to Molotov it in the beginning. And depending on which one he does, there's different types of mind games that could be happening. So depending on if the CT smokes bridge, something that you can do is instantly boost here, so it's going to look like this over the smoke, and if anyone peeks here, he's probably not going to be expecting it, and that is definitely going to be the risk as a CT for when you're going to be smoking bridge. So I think a lot of times you're going to be seeing people molly, and if someone does smoke and then molly, so like let's just say that they smoked and then mollied, then they're just out of 2 very big utility pieces at the beginning of the round, and then you can just do your normal nade set. And he's going to have to use another Molotov that he got from a teammate, or he probably has more people that are playing at mid with him, which is going to make it difficult for him to play later if he isn't doing one of those options. If they're doing a molly, then main risk is the CT getting caught off guard if he's playing by himself. So if you did a house smoke from spawn and you want to do the fast Molotov in the right side here, then if he mollies and you just smoke this out, you have some guy on the right just throwing a flash here, then you immediately have mid control, because he either is going to smoke this out, and if he smokes this out, main thing that you have to keep in mind here is if somebody is just like playing like on the edge of the smoke. And it's actually much worse in CS2 compared to CSGO because of how much this smoke is just covering everything. Because one of the common setups that you would see in CSGO is someone holding with an op here, and then as soon as it gets Molotov, someone like smokes in the corner here. But as you can see in CS2, it's very difficult to get like a smoke that's perfect for everybody. And even so, it's very specific, and the smoke will start volumetricing out and just block your vision. So that's something that you do have to keep in mind for, is CT's playing on mid, and all of the ways that you can be countering the CT's utility, whether they throw a smoke first or a molly first. You do have options if you do want to go fast, but if you go slow, then he has to fall back eventually. If he doesn't fall back, then you pretty much know that he has any of these options, so he'll play any of these types of positions in mid, or he's going to give it up and he's going to just play like any of these positions, back, headshot angles. Usually you're not going to see people playing at this spot because this is all left eye and you're close to a wall. So if a T did come up here and peeked house, you're pretty much going to own him. So most of the time you're not going to see that. Usually see them play either at this corner here, or you're going to see them just jiggling from the stairs. After you get mid control here, then you can obviously do a lot more pressure. You can throw a flash off here, peek and see if he's here at all. You can throw a smoke at exit, just throwing a smoke, walk throw, aiming here, and you're going to smoke off this whole position here. You can do it the opposite way. So instead of having a smoke towards exit, you throw a smoke towards the stairs, and if there is a CT that was posted here and trying to get information, now he has no idea what's going on, and you can potentially lurk into Palace. So these are a lot of different options that you have. There's so many different micros and mind games, so you kind of just have to keep up to date with, you know, what are your best options and how the other team is playing as well. Moving on to these two players here. So in general, the canal player can be the mid guy. So whenever you're doing like these heavy defaults towards whether it's 3B or whether it's 3 mid or whether it's 3A, usually this guy is going to be the one that's playing with it, because as you see, there's not really much that's going on here. I mean, you can of course have a lot of different strats or plays that are based off of using this smoke, but in general it's pretty linear in terms of, I mean, look at this, this is actually just a line, can't really do much here. So this guy is more of like the fluid role where he can come mid and he can help the mid players, be like the secondary rifler here and help take mid control however which way, or come towards B and do any of this pressure here. And if you want to have heavy numbers towards A, then of course it's going to be this guy as well, and you're probably going to have your opper be the support player, and you'll have just one mid. So if you wanted to do more of like a 1-1-3, so you have one guy B main, one guy mid, and 3 towards A, then your opper, he can either like hold this position towards E box and then eventually flash for the A players. And you usually want to have that as your riflers, just because it's kind of hard to trade with your op, because how the op is if you come up here and you try to trade and you just miss your shot, then the trade isn't guaranteed, where a lot of times you would definitely get that trade if you had an AK. So that's pretty much like the difference, and why a lot of teams do have like their opper supporting. Things to look out for kind of on the A side, kind of what I was talking about before was the setup where there's an opper on plat here and then a rifler either anywhere on this wall pretty much. Usually he's going to be a little bit more tucked like this, so instead of being on this exact wall, he's going to be a little bit more tucked, so the guy on the plat is going to take contact. And the way that you want to counter that, like I was kind of saying before in the basic video, is having just somebody in the back here throwing a flash like this. And it's a combination of flashes that's really going to get you through this. So you can get one guy that's like flashing from the back, as you have another guy that's like throwing like a flash towards fountain to make sure that the opera gets blind. But the main thing you have to keep in mind is that the player that's close on A main here, he's going to be anti-flash. So instead of close, he's going to be looking to the corner, and as soon as the flash pops off or the opera shoots, he's going to peek, and that's the guy that you have to make sure that you kill. But of course you have to blind this opera first. If you do decide to work A main with however flashes you want to do or whatever protocols here, usually the next step of, you know, similarly to how we talked about the smoke at B, you can do similar types of pressure that is going to really get the A guy uncomfortable, where you're molotoving on the plat, and this just takes away a really strong position for the A guys. And if you're a CT in this position, you're already feeling a lot of pressure from the T's, because all of these positions on A site, these are all left eye angles, and it's very easy for the T's to just overwhelm you pretty quickly. So as soon as you take this position, you molly this, then you're kind of forcing the CT's hands, either that they're gonna smoke you out at A main, or they're gonna try to hold, see if you're gonna go in. Maybe they're gonna do their own smoke in sight, whether they're gonna do, you know, maybe you actually mollied into default and you smoked it out. or another very common smoke that you'll see is people smoking off this wall, and that's for the CTs to look over the smoke so that you can just play around the smoke in different ways. And if you can get that smoke out of them, then they're gonna have nothing left for you when you actually go onto the site. Thank you guys so much for watching. There definitely is a lot of stuff to learn on T-side Anubis, and it's always going to be changing, so make sure you keep up to date. Hope you enjoyed all these T-side micros that you can be doing for your position, and make sure you keep watching the Refrag Academy to learn more. Thank you.